So I want to talk about why men of this generation are scared of women.
Should I tell her, guys? Okay, I'll tell you. With all due respect, young lady, men don't fear women at all. In fact, probably the issue is women don't fear men or respect men at all these days. Your generation offers a tenth of what our mothers provided. Barely cook, clean, aren't integral, dress up for other men not your own, looking for constant attention on social media, offering very little to the relationship and expecting so much to be done for you. You want a man over 6 feet, high-value man. You haven't the slightest clue how to earn a high-value man. Further, most of you were not raised with a traditionally masculine father. You don't know how to treat men. We're not scared. We're just tired of what you don't bring to the table. And you're gonna have to fix it, girls. I'm sorry.
Something that my dad also taught me, that whenever I would be married, that I should do everything that I can to provide for my future husband, so that that person, whoever it might be, my husband, that they have a place to return to, that they feel rewarded for the things that they've done for the family and for the wife in this case. And that is something that should be reflected to them. All the love and care that we receive from our husbands should be reflected back to them. And I'm not saying that you have to be like completely like obeying like everything to the letter or something. It's just commonsensical things that you just love one another, and you show that through your actions as well, not just by saying it, because you can say I love you 1,000,000 times and not do anything about it. But when you truly love someone, you will automatically do things. That's always like the smaller things that also matter so much, like doing the laundry, doing, just cleaning up the house, doing the dishes, something like that. And I know it sounds very stereotypical that people are going to be like, oh yeah, but women don't have to do that in the kitchen and whatever. It's such a misogynistic kind of thing. And that is the next thing that I will show, that I don't see that really as misogynistic, especially if you are literally a housewife. I mean, that is basically the situation. That's how I grew up, by the way. My dad was the only one that worked. My mother was not able to. For a very long time because of an illness that she has. And my dad was the only one who earned for all of us. We were a family of 4. So my dad, my mother, my brother, and me. And my dad was the only one. And he was a military man. He worked in the military, and he worked his ass off and had to go across the country purely for his job, right? And every day he would always be working. Like, I rarely saw him being sick, for example. Maybe tops, like throughout his entire career, when he was so sick that he couldn't work, it was maybe in the entire of his career, maybe a month in total tops. And that's insane. Every time, even when he was like had a cold or was super sick, that you would think like, you should better stay home. He just went to work anyway. He did it anyway. And that is something that I will always just respect the fuck out of my dad for, really doing everything that he could to provide for us. And that is what he taught me, that I may not be, that's what my dad told me, like Tabby, like I may not be like very talkative or not interactive or something like that. But know that everything that I do is for you and for your mom and for your brother, so that you guys can have a better life than whatever we have. And so that you don't have to live in poverty. And we're going to face that for you, so that you guys are going to be safe for the rest of your future. And that's what my dad did. And that's why he also made it so clear that whenever you're going to be married, please treat your man as best as you can, because of the things that man who truly loves you, one day, that man will do the same things as I'm doing for your mom, so that you guys can have a safe and secure future and live a happy life. That is why men are an unstoppable force whenever they do things in the name of love for the people that they love. Yeah, Daku, exactly that. And that's exactly the saying that I said before, where whenever a man does something in the name of love for the people that he loves, he's an unstoppable force. And again, my dad is a prime example of that. My dad is a prime example of that, because you did everything for us, and again, we started living in poverty, by the way. And that's why I have a huge issue whenever people, like, for example, some particular VTuber that has a new model every 2 to 3 weeks, just throwing away money and still complaining that he doesn't have enough money, stuff like that. But I absolutely hate that. Again, we lived in poverty. My dad, whenever whenever my parents met, basically what happened is the heritage or the well, how do you say that? Like whenever someone passes away, you get like the like all the stuff from your grandparents or parents. So that inheritance basically got stolen by someone from my dad. Inheritance, yeah. What's that? Inheritance, something like that, yeah. So that got stolen from my dad. Took everything. My dad had nothing. And what happened is, well, it's a complex story. But basically what happened is my biological grandmother and grandfather basically had a divorce. Then my biological grandfather had found someone else, and that someone else took all the money from basically my dad that he was supposed to get from his father. So yeah, that bitch took off with all the money. And that's why my dad had to live in poverty and basically lived with his mother, so my biological grandmother, to live with her, and he had absolutely nothing for himself. He had nothing. And then he had us, though, because they wanted my parents wanted to have children. So my brother came first, and then after that came me a couple years later. But I very, very vaguely remember living in my grandmother's house when I was a baby. I still have a very, very vague memory as a baby where I was being washed basically by my mom in a bathtub. And I remember that because it was like a very cold thing that I experienced, and I was like shivering like crazy. And I remember very vividly the bathtub, which was like this very pinkish bathtub, whatever. But basically we lived in poverty. We didn't even have a house for our own. And my dad worked his way up. He was first a firefighter. So sometimes at random times he would be called up from, our physical like landline, basically. Because again, mobile phones didn't exist back then. And then also from that on, then applied to the military, basically, and then became a military man and then worked his way up. My dad worked his ass off all the fucking time to provide for us. So that's why anyone who flaunts away with money and treats money as if that they can just throw it away for shits and giggles and still complain that they need money, even though they are responsible for throwing away their money, I absolutely despise those people. I do. And again, I know a VTuber, and probably people who know me know exactly which VTuber in particular that I'm talking about. Those practices I am fundamentally against. I cannot stand that because of the life that I've lived and because I know what it is like. Like, for example, at school, I didn't have any of the cool, the cool shirt or the cool backpack or the cool shoes or whatever. I was that one weird, gloomy kid, basically, with the shittest clothing, because that's what my dad could afford. Everyone else had always like the fanciest things and also the fanciest mobile phone back then. I had the shitty ones. Everyone had the coolest ones. And again, I was made fun of almost all the time, and other things happened as well. For those that know my backstory, but I was just being ridiculed all over the place. I absolutely hated school, because that was one of the reasons why I hated school, because of the way that people treated me, because of my dad not always being able to provide, the coolest or fanciest things. But still, we were able to make things work. So again, anyone who flaunts away with money and stuff like that, fuck you. Be appreciative of the things that your community gives to you, and absolutely take care of the finances and the hard-earned money and time and energy that people put into you. And to that VTuber in particular, again, I wish that I could speak up about it, but the amount of backlash is going to be insane. Even though whatever I'm saying is the truth, though. But yeah, welcome to the internet, I guess. But yeah, that's why a man who does things in the name of love for the people that he loves is an unstoppable force.